This week on LTC News, stimulating economic growth,
small-scale manufacturing opportunities in Lowell,
summer programs for kids,
We try and make it convenient for others in the neighborhood, so we go out into the actual neighborhoods.
and Lowell as a film set.
I'm shooting scenes in the alley over there.
Stay with
It's
us.
like a lot goes into one scene, I know that.
Welcome to LTC News. I'm your news anchor, Alanna Flood. On Thursday, May 11th, Lowell was shocked to learn of the murder of 44-year-old Nicole White. White was allegedly shot by former boyfriend Ross Elliott in the common area of her Stevens Street apartment building. A hunt for the killer ensued. Local and state police, including SWAT teams, flooded the Highlands, and helicopters watched from overhead on Thursday and into the evening. Stevens Street area residents were instructed to shelter in place as the intense manhunt progressed. As it turned out, Elliott hid in the trunk of a car parked in a garage on Demurle Street. It was in the trunk of the Honda Accord that he turned the gun on himself. On Friday, the car's owner, a woman in her 80s, drove to a doctor's appointment on Research Place in Chelmsford. There she discovered that the trunk of her car was slightly open, and she saw what she thought was a hand sticking out. Upon closer inspection, she discovered Elliott and called the police. Working Cities is a grant-funded project that is a collaboration between the Coalition for a Better Acre and the City of Lowell. Working Cities has brought in a consulting group called Smart Growth America to draw up a plan to stimulate economic development in the Acre and downtown. From May 15th to the 17th, a series of meetings and workshops were held with local bankers, property owners, and businesses. Sean McCarthy, Director of Working Cities Initiative, tells us more.
Working Cities is a partnership between 13 partners in the city, led by the City of Lowell and the Coalition for a Better Acre. It's funded by the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. The focus of it is to collectively bring together these organizations to make an impact on this in the Acre neighborhood, which is one of the lowest income neighborhoods in the city. And the components of the initiative are to improve economic development, improve education, and improve inclusion in the city. So the next few days, we're really focusing on small-scale manufacturing opportunities in Lowell. We have consultants in from the Smart Growth America, which is a national organization, and they're going to work with all the stakeholders in Lowell for that sector.
Well, I'd say we have a lot of experience working around the country providing technical assistance at the local level on economic development generally and downtown revitalization. This is a somewhat specialized focus on light manufacturing. We do bring some ideas that we hope to offer, but mostly we're here to listen first because every solution for every place really needs to be local. It only really works, it's only smart growth if it's rooted in the local community and if it's based on an understanding of the local context. We want to talk to people who are involved in small manufacturing here, partly to get an understanding of what it is they're doing, what their goals are for their enterprises, and how they see themselves growing in the future, and also to understand what it is about Lowell that makes it a good location for them, why they're here, and what can be done that may help them to grow as part of the Lowell community.
Even small businesses and startups play an important role in the economic development of a city.
Invisor is smart jewelry, watches, and accessories designed to instantly allow users to contact friends, family, or police in an emergency situation. And we got such an overwhelming amount of demand. People kept coming up to us and saying, you know what, I'll give you money right now if you can promise to deliver this product to the market. We were very excited at the potential to be able to help millions of people. So after graduation, we started working on it full time, and we're looking forward to bringing the product to the market. The City of Lowell, the Innovation Hub, and UMass Lowell have been incredibly helpful and allowing Invisaware to connect with different resources that allow our company to move forward. So we're here to let Smart Growth America know about all of the wonderful things and resources that the city, the university, and the Innovation Hub have helped Invisaware with.
There are so many exciting ideas for stimulating growth in Lowell. We'll be keeping you informed about future developments stemming from this initiative. And now, Brian Dorrington, LTC Director of Municipal Programming, brings us his City Council Synopsis.
Hello and welcome to the City Council Synopsis for the meeting of May 16th, 2017. Man, is it hot outside. Temperatures are measuring in at 93 degrees Fahrenheit, which equals 34 Celsius or 99 Luftballons. So make sure you guys drink lots of fluid, put some ice cubes in your socks, shave your pets, and if you need to, don't be afraid to take a quick nippy nap in the freezer. It's better to be numb than sorry. City Manager Kevin Murphy presented the fiscal year 2018 operating budget to the council. The city administration is requesting approximately $350 million for operating expenses and approximately $15 million for capital expenses. Manager Murphy said this is a lean budget and many cuts had to be made. He went on to list a few challenges, including pension increases, snow and ice deficits, increase in salaries via collective bargaining agreements, and increases in both charter schools and healthcare costs. He also presented some of the highlights, including $3.6 million in additional funding to the schools, continued funding for police officers and firefighters, and major investments in education, public safety, economic development, and quality of life. School Superintendent Salah Kalfawi and members of the school committee addressed the council asking for additional revenue for the schools. Superintendent Kalfawi claimed that in real terms, the city was actually giving the schools $3 million less this year. He asked the council and the city administration to increase funding to the schools by $3 million. The administration plans on reviewing the budget, and there will be a public hearing to discuss the budget on May 30th. Everyone was expecting a vote on eminent domain for the new high school, but that didn't happen. Councilors Mercier and Rourke proposed a motion to force the council to vote on the eminent domain issue, but the city solicitor advised that instead of forcing a vote now, the councilors should send the motion to the city manager and law department for recommendation. There were 3 presentations on 3 different studies done in preparation for the new high school. I'm running out of time here, so I will be brief. The first was a geo-environmental study, which found some issues with the Colley site and the downtown site, but nothing of great concern that would impact either project. A hazardous material study found that the current high school has been kept in great condition, and there is no immediate danger at all. To remove all of the hazardous waste, at its absolute worst, it would cost the city $1.4 million for the 1922 building, $2.4 million for the 1980 building and the field houses, and $600,000 for the freshman academy. A traffic study found that both sites would have an impact on traffic in terms of congestion. For the Colley site, crosswalks and sidewalks would need to be added. When Councilor Milanazzo asked if land taking would be needed for the sidewalks, the traffic engineer said that it was likely. Manager Murphy said he and his team are currently reviewing the traffic study and will come up with their own recommendations and cost estimates. Well, that's all I have for you today. Remember, you can watch the meetings in their entirety on LTC Channel 99 or on demand anytime at ltc.org. Thanks for watching and be swell.
Summer is just around the corner, and parents are searching for ways to keep their kids busy and learning when school is out. Several organizations throughout the city, and the City of Lowell itself, offer programs that include free lunches. Here are some ideas.
The Lowell Recreation Department, we offer free programming for kids ages 3 all the way through until adult in the summertime. We have a 3- and 4-year-old program at the Riley School, and then 5- to 11-year-old programs at 6 other different locations throughout the city. We don't have our own space at the Lowell Recreation Department, so that's why we try and make it convenient for others in the neighborhood, so we go out into the actual neighborhoods. We bring our programming to the public, which is great that we're able to do that.
Our program goes from 9 to 5, from Monday through Friday, and we serve young people between the ages of 7 to 18. In terms of what we offer, In our summer program, we will be having, young people are going to be able to participate in a lot of our technology programs. So they'll be using coding, they'll be doing animation, they'll be doing web design classes. In our education room, which we call the Brain Center. So there's going to be a lot of hands-on activities that our young people will be able to participate in, be able to do athletics programming, everything from volleyball, basketball, floor hockey, a number of different sport activities and physical activities that our young people can participate in. And then we also have our art programs. So if you're interested in art, we have a partnership with the Whistler House. You'll be able to go to the Whistler House or do art within the club. And then our music program. In our music program, young people can learn everything from piano, bass, guitar, sound recording, beat making, even writing lyrics, voice, if you're interested. So the idea really is to make sure that we can give a number of different opportunities for our club members.
It's basic camp type programs. We build in, tennis, arts and crafts, taekwondo. We have the fire department will come and do a presentation, the police department with the canines, the library, a lot of different things that we try and build into these programs just because they are free. So we want to make sure that people are getting as much as they can.
In the summer, young people will be able to get breakfast, and then they also get lunch in the evening time. And it's an opportunity for our young people really to not only to eat a nutritious meal, we also have our garden program. And in the garden, they learn where food comes from, how to grow the food, and we use those vegetables and incorporate it into our food program so that the young people can see how the food is translated into our everyday lives and how nutritious it is.
So for the arts and crafts program that we have over the summer, we partner with Merrimack Valley Food Bank, and they offer free lunches for our programs. We have a splash pad area on Gorham Street that we offer lunches at, and we also have the arts and crafts program at McPherson Park, as well as Eagle Park in Centerville. So those are the big ones that we do with the Merrimack Valley Food Bank. And then also with the Lowell Public School lunches, they're the ones that supply the lunches for us for our 3 and 4-year-old program and 5 to 11-year-old programs.
Through the summer feeding program, we prepare those lunches off-site. This year will be at the Collegiate Charter School in Lowell. And the supervisors at each of the sites that we serve come to pick up the lunches, and they distribute them to the children. They make sure that each child takes a complete lunch because it's important for the children to have all of the nutritional components of the meal. There are some children who have food allergies, who don't drink milk or are vegetarian, and we will prepare lunches that will offer support for people that fit in those categories.
You can find information about these summer programs at ltc.org. It looks like a great summer coming up for kids. For the second time in 7 months, Hollywood came to Lowell. Film crews descended upon downtown to film scenes for the upcoming feature, Proud Mary. Proud Mary is a Screen Gems picture and stars Taraji P. Henson. Taraji portrays a hitwoman whose life is turned upside down when events awaken an undiscovered maternal instinct. On Tuesday, May 16th, Middle Street was lined with equipment trucks and production crews, while just around the corner, a scene was being filmed in a Palmer Street alley.
Yeah, they're shooting scenes in the alley over there.
It's like a lot goes into one scene, I know that.
With a downtown that is both historically picturesque and gritty, it would seem that Lowell is a natural backdrop for movie-making magic.
It's a great city, and with the cobblestones and the brick buildings, I think it's a perfect setting for any Hollywood set.
Most businesses remained open during the filming, and the crew worked to minimize disruption to the daily activities of the area.
They know that if they need to be in our space that we're open at 11:30, and they said that should be fine. They're not expecting to affect business hours, which is awesome because it's warm for the first time in a while. Seems like they're doing pretty well, trying not to affect the businesses, so I think that's great.
The coffee mill on Palmer Street has a starring role in Proud Mary. The film's art department turned it into a bakery for a scene to be shot later in the day. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman was filmed in Lowell last fall, and no release date has been scheduled yet. We look forward to seeing Lowell on the big screen when both of these films come out. In this week's Sunspot, Lowell Sun Enterprise editor Chris Scott sits down with City Councilor Corey Belanger to discuss whether to relocate or renovate.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Scott, the Enterprise Editor at The Sun. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Sunspot. We're continuing our series with city councilors, talking primarily about the high school issue and maybe a few other issues. With me today is City Councilor Corey Belanger. Corey, thanks for coming
Chris,
in.
great to be with you.
We've been trying to get you in here now for a few weeks.
It's been a challenge, hasn't it?
So finally our schedules
Don't worry,
have...
I'm here. Anytime.
That's good, I appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about the high school. I don't think there's many other issues in the city
What
right
else?
now.
Right, yeah.
There are some issues with the budget. Maybe we could touch on those toward the end.
Thank you, Chris. As a former businessman, I sort of bring that element to the table. Okay, this is an educational decision, first and foremost, but there's a business end to this. And prior to that meeting on Tuesday night, which it was well anticipated, we had chaired by Councilor Elliott, a financial subcommittee meeting. Okay, so what we learned.
He's had several of those meetings now. He's meeting almost weekly, right?
But no one's interested, Chris. No one is interested. It's either those who are very engaged, and that's great to see the passion and the engagement, Chris. But no one is the least bit concerned about the financial picture of this. Okay.
Well, let's just talk about the finances for a minute. So,
Sure.
on that meeting on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
There were so many people who went to listen to the high school issue.
Right.
But it's my understanding that the superintendent of schools, the head of the United Teachers of Lowell, and some other folks came in to ask the city for more money to fund the school department.
Yep, that is correct.
And how did that go over?
That was the council's very concerned. Okay, we look on paper that we exceed net school spending each year, so we're concerned. We see librarians are going to be laid off. That's very, very concerning to us. So we're having the manager look into it for a full report, Chris. It's on the school budget side for the most part, very concerning. We're going to do everything we can for education. Absolutely.
The school department is looking for what, an extra $300,000?
It's going to be about $300,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Which in a $360 million budget, I like to think we can accomplish that.
Well, I remember when the city budget was less than $300 million back when I covered City Hall. What is it now?
About $360.
Okay, $360 million. $300,000 doesn't seem a lot to me. If
0.001%, right?
If Kalfawi and Georges had come in and said we need another $5 million, I'd say, oh my goodness, there's a real issue there. But $300,000, it would seem to me that could be found somewhere in the budget,
well,
right?
it is in the grand scheme of things, Chris. They're talking about having us pay for the school resource officers too. So there's a little bit more than that. We're going to get additional burden on top of that financial burden, if you will, on our end, rather than that. So we got to weigh everything. What do they want us to pay for? The manager will give us that full report, Chris, and believe whatever we can do for education. It's definitely a top priority.
The manager delivered his budget to you guys on Tuesday night, correct? So you have that now.
We have.
Have you studied it?
No, I have not. Yeah. Remember when that used to be a big thing, Chris?
What is the city council going to do with that budget now? I remember they used to have a series of hearings where they'd go line item by line item. What's the schedule to take a look at that budget?
We're on for May 30th. Okay. I probably don't think it's going to get approved that evening. It'll probably be a sequential meeting after that, at least one, possibly two. We'll take a look and see what the manager, his financial team does an outstanding job. It's pretty cut and dry. There's not much to trim. They're right to the wire. It's amazing the job they do on a budget of this size, where free cash is under $1 million. If you count the snow and ice budget, we're actually in a little bit of red. And don't forget we had to dip in the reserves, Chris, a couple million. The manager's confident we can replenish that this year, but nonetheless concerning. We are just skimming by. But we tell them we want the manager to hold the line on taxes. We've made that clear. So, but we continue just to skim by.
Let's talk about taxes for a minute. So if the budget that he gave you, a proposal of about $360 million, correct? Does that call for a tax increase?
Yes.
Okay, about how much?
1.5%.
And how would that translate to an average
about
home?
$1 million. Well, that's about each percent's about $1.5 million, $1.25 million
to the levy?
To the general fund.
Right. Okay. Yep. Okay. So that would produce an extra
almost
about 1.5 million.
Yeah, about 1.5, 1.75.
Okay. Okay. So let's get right into the high school issue now. So you're supposed to be getting cost estimates and all these voluminous documents from the consultants and the architects and everything over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
On top of that increase, inevitably will be another increase.
Another increase.
What's the talk on that? What are you hearing on that?
We're looking right now about 7%. Plus, an additional increase in FY19 to meet the cost of health insurance, OPEB, and what have you, and raises and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're going to be borderline 9-10% in FY total.
Yeah, how do you think that's going to go over with your constituents?
Okay, this high school project, and you mentioned finances. We talked briefly. Okay, this, as I stated, this is an educational decision, but there's a business end to it, and that's what I'm trying to bring to the table, okay? We have to make sure we can afford this. I am very, very concerned about costs, okay? Now, our levy capacity right now, under the state formula, is 135 million.
Explain that. So the city...
The state says you cannot bond any more than 5% of your total combined property values, which is just over $7 billion. That equals to hundreds of millions, but what is left, that's what the bottom line is, what our bonding capacity that remains is 135 million, Chris, which puts a couple of, Carly option 3, a borderline, okay, does it not? All right, so can we exceed that for a school building project? Yes, it's a call that is made by the council, okay, that we're going to, the financial team is going to say, okay, you want to do this? Here's what you're not going to be able to do. So that's what I'm waiting to hear. I need to know costs, Chris. It's very, traffic, environmental, education plan is a top priority. Cost being 1A, meeting the educational plan is 1B, okay? And what the taxpayers can afford. They're all lumped in, A, B, and C.
I think your last statement, after hearing from the financial team, you want to do this, then here's what you can't do. You preceded that with you're very concerned about affordability on this high school project. So let's try to drill down a little bit there. What are you saying? Are you saying that if Colley comes in at 350 million or something like that, that's the figure that's been out there relating to Colley. I haven't quite seen or heard about a number for option 3. Are you saying that before the city embarks on a project like this, that there needs to be more discussion or on the affordability aspect, or perhaps this doesn't even get done and the city...
No, the council has decided, Chris, look, when I toured that high school year and a half ago, we need a new high school. And one of the main components I'm doing is science labs, okay? They are deplorable, okay? When I saw that day that they were in worse condition than when I graduated there in 1987, okay, I said, we're ready. We need a new school. Okay, does that mean...
So you're definitive on that, right?
I'm not saying we do nothing.
Okay.
So everyone needs to calm down before the cost estimates come in, okay? And what I'm alluding to, Chris, is other capital projects. We have these, quote, new schools that are now exceeding 20 years of age and may need up to $20 and $30 million in renovations in the next 5 years. Are we going to be able to bond for that? Okay, what about a police station?
I was going to say, what about the police station?
It's a wreck.
And the JFK Civic Center, the DPD.
Yeah, disaster. Absolutely. It's in worse shape than the high school, essentially. Does it take priority over education? Unfortunately not. I mean, our men and women in law enforcement, we've had double-digit crime reductions in the last couple of years. Of course, that's not getting much limelight right now, but
yeah, particularly after what happened last week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it seems to come in bunches, doesn't it? Yes, but we've been doing very, very good in the public safety aspect. Our men and women in law enforcement deserve a lot more than what they're getting over there. We need to address that. So, what can we afford? Do we do this? What can't we do from this point? That's what I want to know, Chris.
But again, you're resolute here today, saying that the high school project, whether it's a renovation with a new building here or a big new building out at Colley, that needs to be done one way or the other, even if it's at the expense of the other schools that you mentioned, even if it's at the expense of the JFK Civic Center or the police station or the fire department.
I have to weigh all that in, Chris. I have to. So essentially, here's a possible scenario. We could be costs come in too high. Okay, we could potentially be looking, if the city contribution is 150, north of 150 million, then it's going to become a yes or no, not a where. Okay, and what then we're going to have to look at is a renovation, which is an absolute last resort. Absolutely, but it could happen. And that's what I'm trying to come to terms, get people to come to terms.
So you're saying if Colley's too expensive?
It's too expensive.
Okay. So
what a great, I mean, a state-of-the-art, brand-new campus, how good would that be?
All right, so downtown, say for instance, Colley comes in too expensive. It is that if it's north of 350 million or whatever, right? And then you're really looking at something downtown, whether it's just a renovation or a renovation with the new construction. Most people that I've spoken to, even some of your colleagues that have been here, said option 3 is the best of the downtown options, but yet they can't support option 3 because it includes the eminent domain. So there's been a lot of chatter about you this week
I get it.
on social media. My pal Teddy on the radio talked about you as well. You have been perceived as someone who is resolutely against taking that building. But people have picked up signals, or people are sensing, and people are smart, and people read between the lines. They think that you're not so resolute on that anymore. So can you explain to me and to our viewers, how do you view eminent domain?
How do I view eminent domain as an absolute last resort? Because I do not want to take that building, okay? As a downtown businessman for 15 years, businesses like that have had the doors open for 40 plus years, such as the Athenian Corner across the street, such as the doctor's office, have rights to. They are sacred to me, okay? Absolutely, I do not want to take that building, okay? But what we need to do is wait for costs to come in, okay? Because option 3 may not even be affordable, okay? Because that's the most expensive option downtown as well. Okay, so we all need to wait. This discussion, that's what's taking place, could potentially be all for nothing. These people butting heads, friendships are at stake here. This is awful. The council is very, very distraught over this. And I'd like to send a clear message there. We're all very, very upset that it's come to this, these accusations, this mistrust. It's awful, okay?
Why has it come to this? How has this festered like this? I mean, I have my own theories being here a long time in the city, but what do you think?
It's a combination. It's a whole host of reasons, Chris. I think from the get-go we've had some misinformation, which the trust factor, Skanska sort of backpedaled on a few things, modulars.
We have 2 minutes left, unfortunately. Go ahead.
And cause some mistrust, but a lot of it's passion, and we love to see that. We got people fighting, over where it goes, but on the council we have to keep a level head, okay? Because I'm trying to bring that business end to this, and at the subcommittee meetings, no one's interested.
Just getting back to eminent domain for a quick sec, right? So 2 of your colleagues had a motion on Tuesday night. We talked a little bit about it off air. Dan Rourke and Rita Mercier, to try to, as Rita said, hold everyone's feet to the fire on where they stand on eminent domain. We know where they stand. It was determined that motion was withdrawn.
Absolutely.
By Councilor Rourke, and I think Councilor. Okay. Why do you think that motion was put there in the beginning? I've been told that it was really just to try to get you on record and Rodney Elliott on record.
It was an attempt to box me, particularly me and Councilor Elliott, to a smaller degree in, okay? And if somebody thinks...
Don't you resent that, Corey?
I'm not pleased, Chris. I am none too pleased, yes. It was, and if anyone thinks I'm going to take an option, go back on my word. It wasn't so much an eminent domain issue, Chris. It was an issue to go back on your word to the public, that we submitted 4 options to the MSBA and to the public, and we're going to take one of them off the table prior to a vote. Anyone thinks I'm going to have anything to do with that, perhaps has misjudged me. Okay.
Did you discuss anything with Councilor Rourke or Councilor Mercier, either before, during, or after?
I was hearing rumblings.
But no, did you say anything to them, like, hey, I resent what you were trying to do?
My word was, I'm not supporting it. Going into it. That was the bar.
Oh, so they knew. They knew.
They knew. Okay, so it was a deliberate attempt to put box me in, okay? And it backfired, okay? So, it was a reckless and irresponsible motion at the same time. Okay, to go back on your word to the public, not going to happen. Okay,
Corey,
so everything on the table.
Unfortunately, we've done 14 minutes. I could talk to you about this for a long time. I appreciate you coming in. Good luck with your decision-making process on the budget in the high school.
That's it for this edition of LTC News. You can find us on LTC channels 8 and 99, on the web at ltc.org, or get the link each week on Facebook. I'm Alanna Flood. Thanks for joining us.